Hi everybody, very welcome to Mentour and yet another video podcast. As always, I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. Today on the video, guys, we're going to be talking about the newly released Garmin 3000 AUTOLAND system. Is this actually the beginning of the end of commercial pilots? Stay tuned.
31016, everyone right, set on. Third line, 31 right. Delta 260.
Right, so one of the most significant general aviation news that came out during the last week was the release of the Garmin 3000 AUTOLAND package. So I have been tagged in so many posts on Twitter that I can't even count them about this system and about the amazing YouTube videos that came out. I've linked to a few of them down here, where this system is being initiated and it proceeds to completely flawlessly land the aircraft from cruising altitude. So what is this then? Is this actually the beginning of the end of pilots as we know it? Those are actually questions that I've received. And the answer to that is no, it is not. And I will outline why that is the fact right now. So this system is available in aircraft that are equipped with the Garmin 3000 system and also have an auto throttle and electronically activated or managed flaps and landing gear and so on. Basically, that everything can be connected up into the Garmin 3000 and the Garmin 3000 can control it. So aircraft that it's available in at the moment is the Vision Jet from Cirrus and the Piper M600 single engine turboprop aircraft. All right, so fairly advanced aircraft in the general aviation category. What the system does, and this is incredible, is by the push of a button, it will activate the AUTOLAND sequence. And the AUTOLAND sequence will essentially take over the aircraft. It will take over the flight controls, take over the configuration of the aircraft, the speed control, everything. And it will do so while the algorithm starts scanning for the closest suitable airport, taking into account things like terrain, like traffic, like runway length and weather. When it has selected an airport that it thinks is suitable, and it also has to have a GPS approach that it can fly, it would start communicating with both traffic around and air traffic control, telling air traffic control that they have an emergency and what the intentions are. So picture suddenly hearing Siri.
Your airplane has begun maneuvering into position for the final approach to landing.
On the ATC frequency, telling that now I am going to go down and land here using these coordinates or these nav aids. So it's communicating with air traffic control, but also, crucially, it is communicating with the passengers on board the aircraft. So it will turn the primary flight displays of the Garmin 3000 into a simplified version of the original ones, basically telling altitude, telling airspeed and where they're going. The central screen will turn into basically a communication interface that will tell the passengers what is going on. So it will tell them that we're now diverting, this is what's going to happen, I have complete control of the aircraft, you don't have to do anything, and calm the passengers down, right? And now, if you've seen my video that I did a few weeks back about how you, a passenger, could land a 737 using 12 steps in the right order, well then you will notice that what the Garmin 3000 AUTOLAND system does is very similar to what I did in that video. You know, both showing what it's doing it, and also communicating how you need to stay calm.
The emergency Auto-land system is controlling all flight functions. You won't need to do anything.
There is even a feature where the system will point out on the touchscreens where the passengers can kind of click on the touchscreen and talk to air traffic control. So even though the communication is done automatically by the aircraft, the passengers will still be able to talk to someone, a human being on the ground, which is crucial. Now, as it is doing this communication, it is now descending down towards the airport that it has decided on. If it feels that it's too high, so the energy level is not correct, it will automatically go into holding pattern to reduce its altitude until it feels that it's down on a good energy level, and then it will proceed with the landing. It will reduce the speed, it will take out flaps, it will lower the gear, it will land the aircraft, stop the aircraft using the aircraft auto brake, and then turn the engine off and tell the passengers how they can open the doors and exit the aircraft. So it is a completely and fully automated system from cruising altitude down until the aircraft is safe on the ground, right? This is an amazing feat, and it's something that Garmin has obviously been working on for years, but only now do they have the confidence to show it. Now, I should point out at this point that it has not yet been certified. Garmin is still working together with the licensing authorities. I'm guessing that it's the FAA primarily to get it licensed, but the fact that they've released it to the public means that they're probably fairly, far along that process. So the system requirements in order to have this installed in your aircraft or retrofitted to the aircraft is a Garmin 3000. Which is one of their top-of-the-line equipment. It has to be connected to an auto throttle in order to control the airspeed and the energy level of the aircraft. And it also should be connected to the different, it needs to have an electronically activated flap system, landing gear, and potentially also brakes, even though the brakes doesn't necessarily need to work automatically, because you could land on a runway long enough so that the rollout that the aircraft will stop by itself. But that's when it comes to potentially retrofitting the system to other aircraft. At the moment, it is available to the aircraft that I just mentioned, the Vision Jet from Cirrus and the Piper M600. And I think they will become standard, even though I'm not sure about that. So is this the beginning of the end? If a general aviation aircraft can do this at the push of a button, why do we need pilots then? Well, the fact is that this system is an emergency system. All right, that's very important to remember here, because there's a huge difference between a fully automated aircraft that has to work in a day-to-day operation involving other aircraft, involving air traffic control, involving different types of scenarios, and an emergency system based and made only to safely get one aircraft down onto the ground and save the passengers on board. The difference there is enormous. This is still not artificial intelligence. Remember, I've done a video about if the robots are going to take over our jobs. I'm going to link to that up here. And what I stated there was basically, in order for technology to be a real threat towards all of the pilots out there, you need to have actual artificial intelligence. Things that can not only interact with what's going on around, but actually think ahead, actually take different decisions based on different scenarios. And this is not it, okay? This is an impressive technology, and it does far more than any other equivalent system that I've done. But it has been put there in order to save the passengers in a single pilot aircraft if the pilot will become incapacitated. Okay? That's the idea. The idea is, if the pilot would get a heart attack or whatever thing happened to them, the passengers just need to press one button and the aircraft will start to initiate this procedure. It also has a feature where if the pilot has not been active with the Garmin 3000 system, it hasn't been inputting anything or interacted with the system, it will start to prompt the pilot, asking something like click this button, or something that you just basically question if the pilot is still there. And if the pilot does not respond to these prompts, then the AUTOLAND function will also initiate. So that is in case there would be, the pilot would be subject to hypoxia, for example, that they've been flying, the pressurization system has failed, and the pilot has, died or lost consciousness. In this case, the system will automatically engage and get the aircraft and the passengers hopefully safely down onto the ground. But once again, it is an emergency system, and this is very smart by Garmin. By doing it this way, it's likely that they would have to jump through fewer hoops in order to get the system certified. Because after all, every one of us will agree that it's much better to have a system where the passengers can press a button and it will effectively rescue the aircraft than not having anything at all, than having the pilots dead or severely injured and having a panicked passenger sitting by the controls trying to listen to air traffic control and trying to kind of hand fly the aircraft down. This system is far better in every aspect. So it is likely to be certified as an emergency system only, but it's still a far cry away from replacing pilots. In commercial aircraft, we have 2 pilots. That's the redundancy. So if one pilot dies or becomes incapacitated, the second pilot has all of the training needed, all of the know-how to safely get the aircraft down on the ground. And that's really the only redundancy that is needed. Okay? Great. So that's my thought about it. My thinking about the system as such is that I am hugely impressed. Right? It just goes to show how far we've gotten with technology and in general aviation as such. It is fixing a problem that has always been there. And the problem, which tends to be the case, is that in order to buy yourself an aircraft like the Vision Jet or like the M600, you need to have gathered up quite a lot of dough. You know, you need a lot of money for that, which means that the people who tends to do this tends to be older. And if they are older, they're also theoretically subject to a bigger risk of incapacitation, which means that the passengers who's going out flying in the Vision Jet together with this elderly, potentially pilot, they will probably feel much better to know that if something would happen to him or her, there is just a button to push, right? There is redundancy. So it speaks to that problem, and it kind of partially solved this problem. And a big applaud to Garmin and the people at Garmin for having done this. I think it's hugely impressive. That's my thoughts of it. As always, guys, I would like your comments on it. Come in, comment on this, come into the Mentour Aviation app and talk about it. Give a like if you like this video, and tell me if there's anything else you would like me to comment on, to talk about. You know, if you want that, and if you want to know when one of these special videos comes out, then make sure that you have subscribed to the channel and that you've highlighted the notification bell. Otherwise, you might not hear of it at all. Also, I want to send a huge thank you to my Patreon crew. Yeah, you guys. I know that you're out there, and I want to say a huge thank you to you. You are really helping the channel, not only financially, you are, but also by previewing my videos, by telling me what thumbnails that you like and you don't like. It's basically a fail-safe, a quality control on the channel, and you're making a huge contribution to the channel by doing that. Now, if you are interested in becoming a patron, then there's a link on basically every one of my videos here in the description of the video, or up here, and you can choose to support with as much or as little as you want. Everything is greatly appreciated. If you are at the $10 level or up, well, then you will be able to get, you will get a premium membership in the Mentour Aviation app, which means that you get all of the premium features in there, and also you'll be able to schedule like a one-on-one discussion. Maybe you want to talk about your flight training or something, and you want to talk to me. Well, then those patrons will just find a good time where it suits us both, and we can do a Skype call together. In any case, guys, I want to thank you for being here, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Right, guys, I really hope that you liked that. If you want more content like that, more aviation content, well then, check this out. I hope that you have subscribed to the channel and that you've highlighted the little notification bell. See you inside of the Mentour Aviation app, and have an absolutely fantastic day. Bye-bye.